Today we're going to learn salt magic. We'll use 3 different salt spells to demonstrate this. Salt is a purifying agent. When they didn't used to have refrigeration, they would salt their meat to preserve it. Salt is used to disinfect. Salt also adds flavor and interest to things. Overall, salt is considered to be a very sacred substance to many cultures, and it's mighty in the collective unconscious mind as a cleanser and a blessing agent. When we incorporate salt as the main ingredient in magic, we are calling on some very potent Akashic energy to create whatever it is that we are desiring. Salt is self-purifying. After we use it for a spell, it just goes back to neutral, because that's the nature of salt. It's self-neutralizing. So you can just keep using the same salt again and again for different spells. Let's start with a salt spell for money. So you just take an envelope and a coin representing your needed money. You can't just do a ritual gesture and hope that your deep mind gets the idea. You must make a very potent and intentional statement with your spells. Think about all spellcasting and magic as communication devices from our conscious mind to our deep mind. Through the spell, I'm showing my deep mind what to do. Once my deep mind is convinced to do something, it will do it, and it will happen. It's so powerful. The deep mind will make sure that whatever it is I decide that I want actually comes about. It won't resist you once we can communicate to it clearly, and we can let go of any thought forms which are at odds with our desire. Many of our spells seem like they don't want to come true because whatever we hold as a thought form in our deep mind is the reality. When we want to change our reality, we have to place the new thought form to replace whatever that old thought form is. And whichever thought form is the strongest is the one that will prevail. So much magic has to do with impregnating our deep minds with these thought forms. So we must do 2 things: eliminate, banish, or remove the old thought form and plant the new thought form in its place. If your thought form is strong enough, you don't really have to worry about banishing the old thought form, because that new strong thought form will supplant everything else, and you don't have to worry about the weeds in your garden, so to speak. Think about it. If you have a big wheat crop, you just let the wheat take over, and it kills all the weeds for you. And that's the same idea here. We want to impregnate our minds with a thought that takes over. So in this case, it's money. First, we have to get clear on what we want. Rather than working for general prosperity, let's work for something specific. This penny doesn't just represent a penny, it represents the seed of whatever I desire financially. Let's say you needed $30,000 for a particular goal. Perhaps you needed it for the down payment of a home or to pay off some debts or something. This penny then represents the seed of that $30,000. But you have to be clear about that. You have to know that $30,000 is coming to you in the highest way possible, for the highest good of all, in an easy and relaxed manner, in healthy and positive ways. You have to be aware of that before you even go forward with this. Recognizing that the salt is sanctified, purified substance, and that through this salt spell, whatever we create through this spellcasting process is also sanctified and purified. Only the highest good can come from this, and we state that this or something even better is now manifesting for us in an easy and relaxed manner and in healthy and positive ways. It will likely be that $30,000 that comes to us, but you never know. Maybe your debt will just be forgiven, or maybe somebody will give you a house. So you just keep your mind open. You don't want to decide how your desire will manifest. You leave the ways and means to your deep mind. People frequently hit a snag in magic because they think they need to know how something will manifest. That's not what we're worried about. We are concerned about planting the seed, and we know that our deep minds will handle the how. We know that when we plant the seed of financial prosperity, the $30,000 will come. We know it. We have faith. If you haven't taken my beginning witchcraft course called A Witch's Primer, you may not be familiar with the idea that we must have faith. Faith is part of what we call the witch's pyramid: faith, imagination, will, and secrecy. Faith is the attitude that of course this will happen. Just like I know that when I flip the light switch, the light's going to come on. I have utter faith in that. Just like I also know that there will be a sunrise tomorrow. I know it will happen, and I know this will happen too. This is why we talk so much about working within your sphere of influence and slowly expanding that sphere of influence over time. Maybe you've never done a spell that's manifested this amount of money before. So doing a spell for $30,000 may be way beyond what you consider possible, in which case it's not a good spell for you to start with. You might want to consider starting with something that you feel is more attainable in your mind and work up to this amount of money. Make sure that you're working within your sphere of influence and expand that sphere of influence slowly over time. I'm going to take this coin representing that $30,000 and I'm going to put it in the envelope, knowing that I'm impregnating my deep mind with the idea of $30,000 coming to me quickly, easily, and effortlessly. I'm not going to seal the envelope yet. I will fold it up so that it fits when I bury it in the salt. I make sure to have some sort of chant, affirmation, or keyword that I can repeat during the spell casting. Today I'm going to just use the words wealth, success, wealth, success. And I'm just going to chant wealth, success, wealth, success, either silently or aloud. I also want to choose a color that represents my desire. I'll use green for this, but maybe you'll choose a different color. For instance, you might choose gold. While I'm chanting, I feel like my whole body and aura are filling up with this green light. And I feel like I'm focusing that green light through the palms of my hands, right into the salt and into the envelope that is inside the salt. I chant my chosen words the whole time. Wealth, success, wealth, success. I then make sure I conjure the feeling that I will have once I have this money. I have to imagine what it will feel like when this money comes to me. Will it feel like a significant release? Will it feel exciting? Will it feel joyous? What will it feel like? That's the feeling I must conjure. And you keep that up until you get this sense, this click. You feel like you've done it enough. This can take anywhere between 1 and 10 minutes. But once you get that feeling that it's enough, stop chanting and just relax. Then you just take the envelope out of the salt, take a small pinch of this salt, and drop it right inside the envelope. Then seal the envelope up, and over the seal, draw the symbol of money for your country's currency. In my case, that's a $sign. I leave the front of the envelope blank. I fold the whole thing up and just stick it right in my wallet. Then I just try to put the spell out of my mind, and when the money shows up, I can rip up that envelope and toss that penny on the sidewalk for some lucky person to find. Here's another one. Let's say you wanted to do a salt spell to bring a perfect mate. Decide for yourself what some essential qualities are for a perfect mate and a perfect relationship. You might make a list of them, or you can just think about them. Try not to be too restrictive in this. Think of essentials for a good partner, like honesty, and that they love you, and that you're attracted to each other, that you're happy together, that you're responsible together, that you build a wonderful life together, prosperous, joyous, and free, and you're in love. Whatever those qualities are, you just get them front of mind, and you take a little piece of paper. You write your name in the middle of the paper, and you enclose it inside of a heart. And then you do the same thing that you did before. Just bury that paper in the salt. Once again, have some sort of chant, phrase, affirmation. Today we'll just use love, companion, love, companion. You start to chant and conjure. And you think of whatever color represents love to you. Let's say pink. And we fill up our body with that pink light. We see that pink light moving through the hands and into the salt. See the salt glowing with this pink light as we chant, love, companion. We realize that this pink light is magnetically bringing that perfect mate our way. We continue to chant and conjure the feelings of what it will be like when you're together with this person. Conjuring those feelings, conjuring those images, seeing that pink light filling up the salt, moving through every aspect of your body, mind, and spirit. Now, once you've finished and you feel like it's enough, you just relax, stop chanting and stop conjuring, and take the paper out of the salt. You could also put this in an envelope if you want to, but since there's no coin, I just would fold up the paper all by itself. Take this little talisman and hide it somewhere, like maybe in your bedroom, and you keep it hidden until that perfect mate arrives. But you just know this person is coming to you. There's no question in your mind that this person is coming. And this ritual gesture was simply a communication device to your deep mind, that you're working in consort with your deep mind rather than being at odds with it. All right, here's one more very important salt spell, and it's called the pinch of salt spell. This is for dispelling something that you do not want. It might be a big problem, it might be a little annoyance. It doesn't matter. You can eliminate whatever it is with this salt spell. I like to start by relaxing my mind and body and feeling white light moving through every aspect of my body. Then I feel like that white light is coming through my hands and into the salt, filling it up with glorious, beautiful white light. While doing this, I focus on conjuring the feeling that I will have once this problem is gone. I'm not focusing on the issue right now. I'm focusing on the feeling that I will have once the problem is gone. For instance, if I've had a big fight with somebody in my family, I might conjure the feeling of having that entirely resolved. Everybody's forgiven each other, and we're all happy again. Or maybe I have a problem with my computer not working in a certain way, and I conjure the feeling of what it's like once that problem is solved. While conjuring these feelings and seeing the white light moving into the salt, I chant a rhyme or a mantra or a keyword such as infinite spirit, infinite spirit. I just keep that conjuring, I keep that chanting up for a while until I get that sense that it's enough. Once I feel I've imbued the salt with that white light and that idea of the feeling of resolution, then I just simply take a pinch of that salt, name the problem, and sprinkle the salt back into the container while saying, I dispel you. For instance, argument with my brother, I dispel you. Or problem with my computer, I dispel you. And that's all there is to the pinch of salt spell. You've imbued your salt with light, conjured the feelings of what it's like once the problem is solved, and chanted your chant to keep your mind focused. Finally, you take a pinch of salt from the container, name the problem, and say, I dispel you, as you sprinkle the salt back into the container. You can dispel any problem with simply a pinch of salt. So that's the basics of working salt magic. I hope this was fun and interesting for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, blessed be.